So you tuned in listening to Raw Magazine TV podcast with Queen Kiki and who?
King Greg.
Yeah, and I don't know if y'all heard about this, but I never heard about this. And I just came across this by actually seeing a short TikTok video a brother did and talked about this. And my friend shared this. Siobhan, she's a very intelligent uh, woman, queen, and I'm glad she shared this. So it made me go further because he briefly tells you about this and shows you the news clip in the TikTok video. Um, and then I went on further to see what I can find because I was totally blown away that um, the way the story read was that 950 children went missing from foster care system in Missouri. So I was like, wow, I thought it was like all at one time, that all 950, but once I start digging, doing a soft research, because I'm going to dig deeper and follow this story, um, and make sure we have some further insight for you all and information regarding this story. Because I didn't know anything about it. If you all know about it and you have some thoughts on it, please contact us via email or give us a call. All of the contact information is pinned on our social media pages. You can check out Facebook and go to Raw Magazine TV. We have two, a page and a group, private group. So join both of those, the private group and join the like and follow the page, Raw Magazine TV. Okay? So this story, as I mentioned, is out of Missouri, and it blew my mind. So as I did the soft research, come to find out, um, the number isn't that they vanished all at one time. It's what they call quote unquote missing episodes. Um, so let me just get right into it. This story was written and published in the Missouri Independent Online by Tessa Weinberg on May 23rd, 2022 at 2:40 p.m. Okay? It is under the Civil Rights and Criminal Justice tab on the site. And it starts off like this. Federal Watchdog's report sheds new light on scope of Missouri's missing foster kids. Okay? There were 1,780 instances of foster kids going missing in Missouri over a 2.5 year period. Then they give you a map that shows you uh, the amount of missing children. I'm going to say children when I address them because kids are goats and I don't address uh, human children as an animal goat. So, as I read the story, I'm going to read it as it is and as it reports. But when I begin to talk about our children, I'm going to address them as that. So, I just want to let y'all know. They have a map of the missing children episodes, as they call it, which I have a problem with that as well. But um, and this is a screenshot from the HHS uh, DIG report. So if you guys want to Go search around for a screenshot of the HHS OIG report that shows the figure one that shows the numbers of missing children episodes. You can see a map of the entire United States, and each state, I noticed every state doesn't have a reported number, so maybe they have some special pass and they don't have to report their missing children episodes. Or
Maybe they treating their
maybe
kids better than
they
the
are
rest.
doing a good job and they're not having episodes. So
Right.
I want to know why we aren't modeling the rest of the states with the systems that are set up that aren't losing children.
Maybe
Okay?
we need some type of internal revenue service uh, to monitor the folks that's supposed to monitor the families that's handling these kids and
Well, with all these
you know.
thousands of missing children episodes, we need that. So let's get into the story, y'all. Um, after it said there were 1,780 instances of foster kids going missing in Missouri over a 2.5 year period. So, as you see, this was only a report of a 2.5 year period. So, what's happened after preceding this, and what happened prior to them paying attention to understand that this is happening? Okay? A report published Monday by a federal watchdog sheds new light on the scope of missing foster kids in Missouri, an issue that infuriated state lawmakers last year and led to accusations that the Department of Social Services leadership was failing to take accountability. You think? Do they ever take accountability? Or do they forever cash their check?
I think that's all they're concerned about, a check
Hello. And as we go further,
and they bonuses.
the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Office of Inspector General reported that there were 1,780 instances of foster kids going missing in Missouri over a 2.5 year period that spanned July 2018 to December 2020. 4% of all children in Missouri's foster care system went missing during that time. Across the country, there were 110,446 missing children episodes, underscoring a nationwide problem. So, why isn't your president talking about this? Why aren't your politicians running for office talking about this? Aren't your news media outlets talking about this? 4% of all children in Missouri's foster care system went missing during that time. Across the country, there were 110,446 missing children episodes, underscoring a nationwide problem.
Mm.
I had to repeat that. Now, in Missouri, the average time a child was missing was 37 days. With 9 states, they didn't mention which 9 states as yet, averaging over 50 days. So that's like a month and a little short of 2 months that the missing children are missing out of the foster care system in just one state during this 2.5 year period. Okay? On average, a child went missing from foster care in Missouri 2 times, with some states, they didn't mention the states, reaching an average of 5 and 7 times. The number of days is quite concerning, said Representative Sarah Unsicker, Democrat Shrewsbury. I don't know whether during that time frame we're putting sufficient resources into finding missing kids. You think?
Wow.
If it's happening more than one time, 5 and 7 times, children going missing, I think this is a clear indication some pimping of our children is going on by these foster care systems. In Texas, currently, right now, the foster care system is under investigation in legal matters dealing with the employees of the facility using sex and requesting sex and disrespectful behavior towards many of the children in their facility. So when I hear something like this, that children are in a facility and being lost several times and lost for 30 days and knowing what type of shit privately going on with a lot of people with this pedophilia, it sounds a bit alarming, like big alarms. Because that means a lot of the people that are working in these facilities aren't being vetted the way that they need to be to prevent things of that nature from happening.
They give anybody.
In the case in Texas, I believe it's the son of the director of the facility that's being accused of raping and sexually molesting some of the children in the care at the facility. And as I mentioned, not just one.
So in Texas, where about in Texas?
They can look it up. This is what this news story is about. I'm reading what I have in front of me, but the other information that I provide that relates is for you all to look it up. That's what's the problem. Nobody's looking shit up and paying attention to real shit.
So if it's happening in Texas, it's happening in other places.
It says they did the map. It's 100. Let me read that again. Across the country. That means every state has an amount of what they're calling missing children episodes. Thousands. And because they're not people's children, they don't even look at it in the care in the world. They were too concerned about getting their child to cheerleading class or focus on their own child. They're not focused or thinking about the children in the foster care system and the atrocities and traumas that they are facing. But then they have to come and assimilate into this world some kind of way. So if you ignoring that, it may be your child that's coming across one of the ignored children in this world that's been traumatized and find themselves in a predicament of harm of some nature. So what I'm saying to say this is we need to care about all God's children. And because we've dropped the ball, this type of story has went under the radar, just like the story of the young man in Mississippi that got decapitated and dismembered and body parts strewn in different counties in Mississippi in 2022. Here we got another story of how many children just in one state, but this is happening in every state across America. And they're giving it a title of Missing Children Episodes, like it's a fucking TV sitcom. Episode. That's trauma. Because what has happened to that child in them 30 and 50 days? Where was they at? Lost.
Right.
What did they endure? Who talked to them? Who made a report and wrote down what they told them happened to them? And then they say they found them. So that means it was some reports that should have been done when they found them. And then they say they lose them more than once.
They lost them again. So I mean, so that sounds like some runaway and same, might be a mix
some
of things.
Exploitation of children, having sex or doing unspeakable things with adults that they feel vulnerable to. Vulnerable to survival, having a roof over their head. When you don't have nowhere to go and you placed in a home and a motherfucker pushes sex on you to have a roof over your head, you may suck a dick as a child with no direction. For a piece of chicken. Let's keep it real. That's what we do on Raw Magazine TV. This is real artist work, real artist talk, real people talking. Giving our opinions to critical matters in this world. So let me go back to the story that I'm reading. All right. In Missouri, the average time a child was missing was 37 days, with 9 states averaging over 50 days on average. A child went missing from foster care in Missouri 2 times, with some states reaching an average of 5 or 7 times. My God. The number of days is quite concerning, said Representative Sarah Unsicker, Democrat of Shrewsbury. I don't know whether during this time frame we were putting sufficient resources into finding missing kids. A spokeswoman for the Department of Social Services did not immediately respond to a request for comment Monday on the report's findings. And she should have lost her motherfucking job when she didn't respond to a request for comment on this report that's giving this type of news. She felt the need to say she ain't got to say shit. How disrespectful. In research department, we want you to get the name of the person that was the spokeswoman for the Department of Social Services in Missouri during the time of this report. We want her name. We want her picture. Kids who go missing from foster care are at a higher risk of experiencing harm, substance use, and trafficking, according to the report. Clearly. So basically what the world is saying, and people who are not talking about this and not reporting on this and not trying to find out and get to the bottom to stop this type of abuse to the most vulnerable population, children.
Man, it's sad. It's already bad enough when people have to give their kids up, or the kids have to be in foster care, some type of whatever.
For what reason? Right. They being torn from their families, torn from who they know, familiar places and faces. Some may have some sort of disabilities. We're not even thinking about the children that got disabilities that's being ripped and placed somewhere.
Some never knew their families, because like you said, they've been given away at birth.
And this right here, y'all, is not a joke. I'm telling y'all, I am going full tilt on this story. And I'm going to be reporting on this every day. Because I see ain't nobody else doing it. So that's the only conclusion I could come to, is that the Most High is telling me it's up to me to sound the horn. Because see, y'all going to the block every day. I come from the same type of, you know what I'm saying, delusion that a lot of you grown and adult people out here in this world in all colors and races and faces are going through, which is being distracted and not tapping into my real true self of who I am, and what my position and role in this world is to be. And this shit right here is not, I've always had and have experiences personal dealing with friends that were in foster care at some point in some time. In my own personal experience, when I fucked up and made a mistake doing what I wasn't supposed to do, my children were taken from me in a whole nother state. But damn sure better believe from the day they left my custody, it was a fight and a battle instantly to get them back to me. And I pray to God that while they weren't in my care, that nobody caused no harm to them. So this is something personal. For me to hear a story like this and understand that a person that look at the news and look on social media on a daily basis, not to have known this shit, only to find out about it through my friend posting a TikTok video of a young man that's putting that damn knowledge down. I'm like, what? So let's get back to the story, y'all. Kids who go missing from foster care, we said what they're at a higher risk of experiencing harm, substance use, and trafficking, according to the report. A previous audit of Missouri's Children's Division found that several missing foster kids had used drugs and a few became pregnant. In one instance, a child had been sex trafficked in as many as 4 states while missing. Didn't I tell y'all before we got off, before the top of the story? What did I say? I didn't read this. I'm reading this for the first time with y'all on this broad podcast, Raw Magazine TV. And I said this shit sound like what? Some sex trafficking going on. And a lot of weirdos with professional titles and certificates and shit is participating in this type of underground shit with doing trafficking and having sex and sexual, all kind of unspeakable, ungodly things to children. And that's why I don't like how this shit with Finesse 2 Times is going down with this 10-year-old boy out of Memphis. It's giving me that type of vibe. You know? Showing this little nigga all this money and shit, ain't trying to take care of his family, and only he motherfucking getting the money. What he doing for the money? Ain't shit free. Like I said, them kids who find themselves lost, if a motherfucker say to stay here for the night and the week, you gotta suck my dick or do this and that, they gonna suck it. They're a child. They want to keep a roof over their head. You got grown motherfucking women to this day doing that shit, sucking the dick to pay a bill. Come on now.
Sick ass shit. You got all these women out here that do it for free.
But there is that thing, that devilish thing is called a fetish.
Yeah, it's a fetish.
A motherfucker have a fetish. They can have all the free pussy they want. They still gonna try to find a way to get to what their fetish is, which is a child.
Right.
They want to have sex with a child.
That's sad.
They dick might be small. They want to hurt something. They don't want to get laughed at by a woman like, damn, nigga, what the fuck is you down there doing? Or faking an orgasm with they little dick ass. You know? Some motherfuckers have a fetish. And this Jeffrey Epstein shit, that shit's still going on. They trying to sue the banks to say motherfuckers in the bank is in cahoots with this nigga funneling money made through trafficking children. What? They have a fucking island. J.P. Morgan getting sued, and the other bank that he banked with. So you now motherfuckers
billions of dollars out trafficking kids. Yes. And they got this money and shit. And they don't know what to do with it. Man, come on.
Telling y'all this motherfucking rabbit hole go deep, but y'all can stand on the earth.
To the kids, goddamn it, he fucked over the families of the kids, shit. Straight up. That's where it should go. And I heard that's where some of it is going, getting split.
And you hear that? They said the child has been sex trafficked in as many as 4 states. And that go back to what I was saying, y'all. Who they got talking to these kids when they go missing, and where is the reports? We need that to be public information, or at least an exclusive board set up that's qualified to review these materials and watchdog these people in these foster care systems set up in every state.
Watchdog for each child.
You hear me? Yeah. This is go no more further the way that it's going like this.
Every child should have their own social worker, not just in a group of shit.
Cause that mean they going from state to state, and they taking them from a state facility that knows. And who working there say, oh, I don't know where Clara gone, or Joshua, or Julie. And they look closing their eyes. There is no friggin' way, y'all. Let's get back to the story. DSS historically has shown that it needs a watchdog, given problems that it's had in the past. I'm much more confident in the new directors, but I think that it helps to have them know that there's an eye on them, and we're not just letting these children disappear. Exactly. Miss Representative Sarah Onaker, the Democrat of Shrewsbury, she said a mouthful there. Okay, so last year's report by the Office of the Inspector General found Missouri failed to sufficiently reduce children's risk of going missing from the foster care system, and frequently failed to notify local and federal authorities they were missing. That means for them days that they said 38 days and 50 days, that these motherfuckers who work in the facility that the child was brought to don't even report to local or federal officials that the goddamn child is missing. Sound like they cohorts with the trafficking then. Sounds like there's a collaboration, a correlation between the state agency workers and the trauma that they only tried to give to one child, when, as I said, if you take the stories of all of them, I bet you it's more than one that's been sex trafficked. It's more than one that they mentioned a few became pregnant. And more than several that go into drugs. How about a child can't stop a grown motherfucker who house in, stop them from sticking a needle up in them and drugging them?
All type of shit going on.
Okay? So it says, last year the report of the out failed to sufficiently reduce risk of reduce children's risk of going missing from the foster care system and frequently failed to notify local and federal authorities they were missing. And all of those people who failed to make a report should not have a job in the system ever again, and their asses should be in jail for failing to report missing motherfucking children. That'll stop that shit. And motherfuckers know their ass gonna go to jail and get charged with not calling the police and filing a missing child report.
It's like you trafficking them kids. If you ain't doing it, then why the hell you ain't reporting this shit?
Hello? So, it's a last year report found 978 children were missing at some point from Missouri foster care in 2019. And how the fuck was they missing in that amount when COVID was being introduced and we went into the lockdown? The findings sparked outrage from lawmakers last year who pressed officials for answers at subsequent legislative hearings on the issue. Since then, the Children's Division, which oversees the state's foster care system, is under new leadership, as is the department as a whole. Representative Dottie Bailey, Republican of Eureka, said conversations with the new Children's Division Director, Daryl Missy, contributed to her removing a provision in legislation earlier this year that would have allowed $50,000 in fines to be issued against providers who failed to report a child in their custody was missing. She removed this provision. Why the fuck would you remove it just because you met this motherfucking new director, Daryl Missy? His name don't even sound like he can be trusted. Now, that was a dumbass move, and we need to write and contact Representative Dottie Bailey, the Republican Eureka, said conversations with the new division. Bitch, conversations ain't enough. That's what I'm talking about. We got idiots like this. I don't care what party she's in. That ain't got shit to do with it. What she's talking about doing is not putting in the fact of legislation that would have allowed them to be charged. Like I just said, their ass should be in jail plus fined for not reporting. And I'm not even a politician with the label or all of these degrees come from a Ivy League school. And I just said that before we read this dumb shit. Now, she shouldn't. How you gonna talk to a motherfucker? My conversation with the new director is contributed to me removing. I'm gonna take that out. This provision in legislation. This is why I say they in cahoots. Maybe this bitch in cahoots too with the trafficking. He has a heart. What? Listen to what she said, y'all. Who failed to report a child in their custody. Now, bitch, you should be added to the legislation to that they ass get locked up for 7 to 8 years on the first offense with no record, if that's how they coming. He has a heart for these kids. They got this in quote, so I guess this is what the rest of what she's saying. He has a heart for these kids, and we see change coming. How the fuck can you see change coming? Did you talk to the kids? Bitch, who went missing. And ask them if they see a change coming. Okay. I'm just getting passionate. My bad, y'all. Bailey said during House debate in April. So I took the $50,000 penalty provision out of this bill in good faith that I do trust him and he gives me hope for that department and shaping it up. Wow. I'm going to whisper this. Since baby say I was getting loud, I'm going to whisper this part to this statement. Bitch, are you fucking crazy? You got hope by having a conversation? What has this man showed you or those children that went missing several times that change is coming? Coming? No. It needs to be there. Like tomorrow. And you need to add that motherfucking provision of a $50,000 fine and include jail motherfucking time for any motherfucker that don't report a missing child. That should be the change that you can see coming. Something that you got control over, bitch. Stick to that lane. And everybody needs to write Representative Dottie Bailey, a Republican of Eureka. Eureka, she's a motherfucking freaker. With this new division director, Daryl Missy. That nobody else motherfucker had a conversation with but her. It gave her faith to take off. This is why I say they collude. She might be in the sex ring where they bringing the motherfucking kids too. So she gonna help them out. And who is Daryl Missy? Is he part of the LGBT? QRXTUV? And he's gonna get in here and snap it around.
Don't forget the I.
He's gonna change. Change the whole system with no penalty. That's what the fuck she just gave them. No penalty. So guess what? Ain't nobody overseeing them. It's finna be 2,000 motherfuckers missing for over 50 days and shit now. Free for fall. Because ain't no penalty that this bitch, Representative Dottie Bailey, Republican from Eureka, just gave Mr. Daryl Missy.
Basically part of the ass. Huh?
Yeah. Talking about he has a heart for these kids. How the fuck he got a heart? He don't even know these goddamn children.
Mm-hmm.
The bill, which also would have raised the age of missing child to 18 in an effort to ensure law enforcement takes such reports, passed the House unanimously in May, but failed to gain traction in the Senate in the session's final weeks. Ain't that about a bitch? Told y'all they don't give a fuck. Some of their ass in the Senate is having the kids come to them in the sex trafficking. Tell the truth, shame the devil. Okay? Sorry, I'm not gonna get loud, y'all. But this shit is crazy. So the bill, she done took out the penalty to their ass, without any jail time or a loss of employment, never to be employed in that field again. She sent up some soft shit that raised the age of the missing child to 18 in an effort to ensure law enforcement takes such reports. Passed the House unanimously in May. Everybody said, yeah. But it failed in the Senate. So the shit ain't become no bill. Not even her soft shit. So it's basically, as I said, no penalty. And y'all vote for all them people, and none of them people up there representing y'all is even talking about this shit. So Unsicker says she believes under new leadership, the department has come to the table to try to make changes, but still hopes to see lawmakers pass reforms to ensure the department is accountable. Now you see how that bullshit, they just took you all the way around. The bitch had a conversation and took the penalties out. And then gonna say they believe under the new leadership, they gonna come to the table to try to make changes, but still hopes to see lawmakers pass reforms to ensure the department is accountable. Bitch, you ain't ensuring the department is accountable, because remember, you took the penalties out of the bill that you put forth. To make them accountable. Maybe that would have went over well in the Senate. Instead of some goofy shit you try to put forward. Which was doing nothing to help the children that's currently still going missing in that motherfucker, or the ones in the past that have went missing. Your law and your bill fell short. So everybody get a picture. Research department, pull up picture of Miss Representative Dottie Bailey, the Republican of Eureka. We want all her social medias and all her pictures, and so we can flood her office with kind, beautiful letters on how fed up we are with this bullshit. And then Miss Ernest Ursicker, who they talking about, her too. Research Department, Unsicker, Unsicker. DSS historically has shown that it needs a watchdog, given problems that it has had in the past, Unsicker said. I'm much more confident in the new directors, but I think that it helps to have them know that there's an eye on them. Of course. And we're not just letting these children disappear. Yes, the fuck y'all is, because y'all still ain't got no law passed. Unsicker said she was concerned that the number of missing foster children has increased in recent months. Since February, the number of kids in Children's Division custody listed with the status of RUN has hovered at 100 or more, with 110 kids with the designation in February. That since dropped slightly to 100 as of April, according to the Children's Division latest figures. The issue of labeling missing children with RUN designation was highlighted in last year's report as an area that makes it difficult to determine if a child is truly missing and their whereabouts are unknown versus children in an unauthorized placement that officials are aware of. In the Department of Social Services budget passed early this month, Lawmakers included, look how much money, 8 million for the development of a new comprehensive child welfare information system. A dozen states, though not Missouri, reported that some of the children who went missing ultimately died. In California, a 15-year-old was found dead of a suspected drug overdose 3 days after going missing.
And her body gone to the meat factory.
States varied in how they defined a missing child, with some reporting them as soon as they learn a child is missing, while others require a 24-hour waiting period. A handful of states had created special units to specifically locate missing children, while a dozen only required the foster care provider or state agency to contact law enforcement in the case of a missing child, according to the report. Without ensuring that missing children are accurately and expeditiously reported, state agencies lack assurance that all appropriate agencies are promptly initiated searches for missing children, the report read. The report made no recommendations, but expects it will be used to help improve outcomes. The report could not conduct comprehensive analysis on factors such as race and the precise status of missing children, in part because of incomplete and incomparable data received from states. Meaning they're not keeping records of these foster care children. So it's fair game. They can disappear and won't no motherfucker give a fuck about it. The lawmakers ain't making no laws about it for them to go to jail or be held accountable. So as I said, it's increasing in the number, and it's going to continue to increase, and people are going to continue to only want to stand up for the causes that they feel they're going to get something out of it from. Get something out of it. You know. And this report didn't even give any recommendations. That's another slap in the face to just say, we gonna tell y'all what y'all already know, and now nobody is investigating or doing anything about it. So they're gonna continue business as usual. Sex trafficking, introducing drugs and drugging, all kind of horrific and horrible things. I mean, I don't see why they would stop, because it's allowed. It's actually condoned by those leaders that y'all put in leadership roles, and they got $8 million to help them party, because it's not being spent, as we can see, on the children and their benefit. And then it says, the report could not conduct comprehensive analysis on factors such as race and the precise status of missing children, in part because of incomplete and incomparable data received from states. Okay? So everybody got their own system, and half this shit ain't even being reported. The federal watchdog noted it also has an ongoing audit of states reporting to National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And there you have it. That's the story that we're going to follow and stay in tune with. And make sure you keep listening to Raw Magazine TV podcast and watching Raw Magazine TV. All you will find on our website, which is www.rawmultimediagroup.com. Peace.